Good morning, everybody, good afternoon, or good evening. I'm here to give you guys my final recap and my final impressions or thoughts on Tsuki ga Kirei, or you could also call it As the Moon So Beautiful on episode 12. Oh man. I really wanted this episode to be aired yesterday, but because of certain complications with production issues, which was fourth time in a row already. Let me see here. I think it's been the third or fourth time in a row that I had production issues, and this one became very late. It did not even get released yet for me until this morning. So I watched it. My emotions were going way down. Call me a crazy maniac, stupid guy, but it's just me in a certain way. But I still really wish it would have been aired yesterday, but even if it was aired, I don't think there would be a chance I think there would be a chance, but I had a big major errand I had to run, etc. But despite me talking about it, not talking about the episode yet, let's just talk about it now. Forgive me for rambling on like a stupid fool for a minute or so. We have to it that we get to see the test results of Kotaro, and as expected, I think in a certain way, he did not pass. I think it was to be expected because we never saw Kotaro do very well in his school studies, and sometimes people like that who try to work hard and try to get things to work out. Sometimes luck is on their side, sometimes it isn't, depending on what subject you really fail most at. And of course he talks to Akane about this, and she's happy that she's doing everything he can for her, etc. And eventually he gets to a municipal high school, and Chinatsu is there. And this is where Chinatsu finally confessed and says I liked you for a long time, etc. Which I'm really glad and happy that she finally confessed, because sometimes getting things off your chest and maybe out of your mind or something is a way to say you are ready to move on even after being rejected. And of course eventually Kotaro does reject her, of course, and Chinatsu ends up telling Akane that she confessed to Azumi-kun, which I think it should be okay, because sometimes there are some things that that's best to get it out of your chest and move on, etc. Better not knowing what your answer will be, or it might be, but you want to know the right answer. But Akane forgives her friend and says it's okay. And we have to it that Kotaro decides to get back into writing and ends up having a talk with Akane through Line and wants to hang out with her after graduation. And he ends up posting his stories online, which is pretty cool. And we have to it that Kotaro and Akane do hang out with each other, and there are some things that Kotaro says he'll just have a part-time job 3 times a week and try to visit her. And that is something that's really, really fun and nice going, because this is really touching my heart. But Akane seems to be much more worried about Kotaro because you're taking the whole burden right now. Aren't you suffering because of me? Why didn't you tell me that Chinatsu confessed to you? Although when I look at this, Akane was really tearing up, and she's gonna plan to move after their date, etc. And of course, Akane still gets very anxious about this because I keep thinking I'm causing so much trouble for you, etc. And of course, this really breaks my heart because Kotaro never thought of it that way, and it really breaks my heart too, in many ways. To one, I feel like my heart just really is wanting to shatter, but. We also see to it that Akane is about to leave the next day. And we also see to it that Chinatsu and her friends decide to hang out the company one last time before she moves. And we see to it that Kotaro was actually making a story about himself and was posting it. And we have also to it that he posted his story, etc. And he ended up having certain comments that things that about his story, and I think it involves Chinatsu or maybe Akane, and he ends up getting a line message that she wants to see you one last time. And this really breaks my heart because Kotaro was trying to go to Akane as best as he can, but he decides to go to a certain train, and there's actually like a line in the story where it's like, no matter how far apart we are, my feelings will never change. And I'm thinking in my mind, this really is wanting me to cry right now. And the moment he sees the train that Akane is passing on, although we don't really know if I don't know how he knows that, he ends up confessing to Akane like, I love you and I'll always love you, as a message. And this is where Akane finally understands that no matter what happens, or no matter how far apart we are, we still love each other. As Kotaro and Akane still think about each other in our heads, it's like how to hold hands, how to kiss. We can never tell our friends because it was so embarrassing. But when it comes to courage that Akane thought about Kotaro, it must have been a miracle when they actually still love each other. And then it goes to the episode title of "And Then," and it shows Kotaro and Akane like still messaging each other and still be able to try to visit each other, even though they took separate ways. It was very sweet, and the way how it shows in the pictures how they're studying together and still trying to look out for each other and still visit each other, which shows how much commitment of a relationship they still have, etc. Especially Kotaro still doing his schoolwork of writing, etc., going to a club, being part of a freaking seminar. It's like line messages back and forth, etc. And there are some ups and downs going on. I'm sorry, etc., and so forth. And something about going on a vacation, which I think Kotaro and Akane did. And we have two of the Kotaros actually also like getting a job interview. Eventually, it goes into far into the future. And we have to it that Akane and Kotaro still contact each other, and no matter what happens, like it says, like no matter how far apart they are, it's like we're still together. And in the end, we have to it that when it shows those credit scenes, etc., it shows that it shows a lot about like Kotaro and Akane finally married and having a child. You know, I really hope that's a Kotaro, but it has to be, because who else would it be? That would be stupid if it isn't. And I'd be banging my head left and right, and ends up showing a scene of their baby, his hand and her hand, having the ring, showing that they're married, and a red string of faith or something. That it's always been some kind of mythological rumor or so, but yeah. So overall in this episode, like I said, even though Akane and Kotaro took separate ways, they still love each other. Even Kotaro will still love her, and my feelings will never change. Even Akane, on the other hand, like says that her feelings will never change either. And even though she was so anxious about Kotaro suffering because of her, but etc. It really made me happy that I guess you could say that Kotaro and Akane is still together, even towards the end of the episode and during the credits. Because, you know, all that development they've been building up, you know, even though it was a little, like, complicated for me, because, like, Kotaro just confessed to Akane. He only met her, like, maybe in school for about a couple days or just a day or so, and confessed and says, can you go on a date, can you go out with me, etc. And he's been working hard, and even though there were complications in relationships, like ups and downs for both of them, even though they don't really understand the mind of meaningful of like what's going on in their lives, but maturing and developing and still caring for each other really builds up right there. Not to mention where they still visit each other even after middle school, and Kotaro trying to take the train, etc., getting paid, and he just wants to like get things going. And that just shows a lot of strength and commitment to be in a relationship, you know. Sometimes we all know in real life, in reality, that we may see our friends, or maybe we could see in certain life in documentaries or maybe other videos or so, that certain relationships just doesn't work out and it all becomes turning loose in hell. And that's the reality of it, etc. But, you know, sometimes, like, this series could give a certain vibe that it's not all that bad if you're really committed, if you put in all the hard work. But aside from me rambling on like a freaking idiot, etc., what did I think of this series? You know, I never thought I would actually pick up the series. I really thought about it, but, you know, nothing much going on with me on the weekdays, etc., and I just go like, I might as well just watch it for the hell of it and for the fun. And I watched it, had a lot of enjoyment for some reason, even though like it felt a little fast and felt a little complicated, which I don't really know, but I might have like been through these situations in my own life in middle school, but that's another story for another time. aside from me that it was a nice fun ride series. I think, like I said, I think this series really earns my romance anime of the year, even though it is nothing original and nothing special that is so amazing. I guess it's like one of those series that might have made it right for me in a certain way. Although, like, I don't know how to explain it to you, but I guess, like, it's not one of those things where it's so many misunderstandings and then we hate each other for it, but developing bond, etc. But even so, like, I still enjoyed the series, even though it had certain complications for me, and I had some in-between bounces of what was happening in the series, but I still had my enjoyment. And what do I think of it personally, of a score of my own? I think it earned about maybe a straight 7 out of 7 for me, maybe 7 to an 8 out of 10, but I think 7 seems more fitting for me for some reason. Maybe I'm just being an idiot, but like I said, the series has been a enjoyable ride for me. I'm really glad I picked it up for some reason. But even though it's in a school background and involves like young teenagers going through their own puberty, or even going through their own mental changes and growing up development, I still had my enjoyment. Even though it went to that ending, which kind of saved me a bit, even though taking separate ways and still visiting each other man, it was still fun. So, even though, it may be too late to say this or something, would all you be asking me, would you recommend this series? I'd say, not now. I mean, if you haven't been keeping up, etc., I guess not. But if it's something that you want original and want something different, then I say no, because I don't think there's nothing original and amazing that it will, keep you watching. But, yeah. Aside from that, I really had a lot of fun. Like I said, 7 out of 10. Those of you who kept up with me and my recaps, especially this long one right here, which is at least more than, possibly 13 or 14 minutes, but seeing how both our characters grew up, especially Chinatsu and Higariya, or what's his name, Hirakun, they still had a lot of development with each other. Well, all the characters, that is. The only thing I really wish we could have seen is the other side characters and see what they did, aside from Akane and Kotaro. But I still enjoyed it. I really hope maybe someday in the future, if they ever release something, they could put in what happened to our side characters and etc. Because even though it was a focus on Akane and Kotaro, even in the ending, I really wish we get to know much about what they all did in their lives and see if they still kept in contact with each other. But who knows, I guess sometimes in life, when it comes to friendships, they don't tend to last very long if you take separate ways, and it hurts knowing that. But aside from that, like I said, sorry for rambling on. I had a lot of enjoyment. So thank you all for watching my recaps and my other stuff to the very end. So until then, I'm Alpha Zero, people. Have a good day, and I hope you guys had much fun with the series as much as I did, especially with your emotions, etc. So until then, peace out. Bye bye. See you in Summer Anime 2017.